Happy Sunday, everyone. I am so excited to talk to you about this topic in terms of what happens when you don't get promoted at your organization. What do you do about it? When is it time to leave? What is the step by step to improve your situation? It is rainy as heck in Toronto. I hope it's not going to be too rainy for the rest of the summer because, gosh, I am so bummed that summer is going to end soon. We literally only have 1 month and then it's fall. I cannot believe how fast summer went by. If you are listening, if you don't know me, I would love it if you drop in the chat. Tell me where you're tuning from, who you are, and there's a lot of goodies in this live. I actually spent a very long time writing an article yesterday that goes deep into why people have so much difficulty leaving. So let me paint a scenario for you, and maybe you will relate to this. You are a high achiever. Perhaps you are at the director level, maybe a senior individual contributor with more than 15 years of experience. Maybe you're a VP and you have delivered on every mandate. You have exceeded expectations, but your organization still won't promote you. You ask for feedback and you get criticism instead. Criticism over things that are meaningless, that are not even relevant to the business outcomes that you delivered on. So what do you do? What do you do to fix it? You end up working harder. And when you end up working harder, what the organization does, because they don't want to lose you, they give you some breadcrumbs, breadcrumb recognition, just so that you feel a little bit of relief. And then what happens is the goalposts keep moving. Every time they give you feedback or they give you a reason why you're not getting promoted, you deliver on those things. And then there's something new another reason that they give you as to why you're not getting promoted. And sometimes it's a structural issue. A lot of my clients who come to me have experienced a reorg, a merger and acquisition, a reorg, and they end up losing their manager who's been advocating for them, their sponsor. They leave the company, someone else comes in, and they feel like they have to start all over again, which is frustrating. Now, what I see high achievers doing is they get into the cycle of prove, fix, hope. Okay? I'm going to go through that cycle because it is a very dangerous cycle to be in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the psychology of why exceptional people stay in jobs that won't progress their career. You're a smart person at a subconscious level. You know that what you're doing by staying in this company is you're causing your career to be stagnant. And let's be real. If you are a director, you are likely above the age on average of 35. Likely. More than that. I'm 42. And anyone above the age of 35, I mean, 40, 50, right? We're at a point where you don't have a ton of years left in your career to just be stagnant and to be frivolous. Time is of the essence, and you don't want to spend too much time in a role that keeps you stagnant, because what happens? What happens when you do that? You lose momentum. It becomes very difficult to place you. And the more stagnant you are, the more questions you get during interviews, the more difficult it is to actually convince, hiring managers that you are valuable. This is where the recruiters sense the red flags. Okay, the advice that giving you, I'm going to give you right now, and I encourage you to watch till the end because I actually have a free gift for anyone who stays till the end. I will share with you my free email course. And by the way, this is not just some email sequence. This is an actual course that I built. I put a lot of effort into it and I'm giving it away for free. So if you stay till the end, you will get the link to my free course. And yeah, if you're watching the replay, then you can just, comment, free course or send me a DM and I will share with you the link to the free course. Okay, so um, this is based on 1,000 directors, VPs, and senior individual contributors that I've coached. It's also based on my own story as someone who's been in the corporate world for more than 15 years, has climbed up to the top to the director level, worked with C-level, and worked with over 1,000 people. Here's the thing. Most high performers learned early that approval had to be earned through performance. You're sort of expecting that in order to get recognition, you have to work very hard. You have to, sometimes you even have to burn yourself out. And so what happens is you tie achievements to your self-worth. And that mindset can build an extraordinary career. I mean, it built my career. I learned that if I work hard, I climb up, right? But being a fixer can have pros and cons. So being a fixer is what helped me move to a new country and build a life. I moved to a new country at 18 and built my entire life on my own without my parents. All of them are in the Middle East. I'm here by myself. And if it wasn't for my fixer mindset, I wouldn't have gone to where I am. I wouldn't have built a professional identity from scratch and led over $1 billion transformations inside Fortune 500 companies. But I'm going to tell you something that I don't say often. Because I've had this fixer mindset, I attached to situations that weren't serving me. I thought I could fix every single situation, even when it was a dead end. And that is a dangerous part of being a high achiever. For example, I was at an organization for more than 4.5 years, was not getting promoted, not getting the recognition, and I thought that I could fix it. But there was nothing to fix there. The company just didn't have the ability, the budget to promote me. So why stay when you could just leave into a place that actually has the capacity to accommodate you? Yes, thank you, Adib, for sharing this. An insightful and empowering session, transitioning out of spaces that don't recognize your value is often the catalyst for true innovation. Very true. As a master goldsmith, I believe that just like precious gold needs the right crucible to shine, our true potential requires the right environment to flourish. Thank you for a great discussion. Wow, I really, really love this analogy. Thank you for sharing, Adib. And thank you, Brett, for um, your feedback. Okay, so here's the thing. At that job that I'm sharing with you guys, I saved a contract that was worth over 3 million, and on paper I did everything right. My boss even said this to me. But every time the promotion came up, the feedback turned vague. Oh, you don't have executive presence. Your tone is too clinical. What does that even mean? It wasn't concrete because, hey, if they gave me something concrete, then I would act on it and they'd have to promote me. But they were purposely giving me vague feedback because they weren't going to promote me. And so what I did was I worked harder, because here's the thing. Fixers don't look at a broken organization and think, oh, this place lacks the capacity to support me. We tend to internalize everything. And then we take it upon us to say, well, I can turn this around. We read friction as a challenge and not as evidence of misalignment and challenges that we are not able to control. Okay? Because we have a tendency to tell ourselves that we prove ourselves if we are able to overcome a challenge. So we stay, we take on more, we protect the team, we solve around bad leadership, we do the next level job without the next level authority, title, or compensation. And because we're competent, it works. The work gets delivered. And what do you think this teaches the organization? It teaches them to not promote you and to extract you. Oh my goodness, it's almost like the analogy of being in a relationship. When you're giving so much to a person, they take you for granted instead of giving them just enough and letting them reciprocate, right? So you're giving this organization way too much. You're being the hero, and what do? They're not paying you what you deserve. And your competence begins subsidizing their dysfunction. Then, just as you begin to lose hope, what do? They give you some breadcrumbs. A senior leader praises your work. Your boss hints a promotion may be coming. And then someone maybe says, we don't know what we do about you. And that just feeds into your ego, and you get into this vicious cycle. This vicious cycle of you proving, fixing, hoping. Okay? Tell me in the chat if you've ever been in that situation and if that resonates with you. I'm so curious. I'm going to check here and see if anyone is sharing with me. Oh, yes. Hey, Brett. LA. Wow. Or Las Vegas. Sorry. Okay. This is like the professional version of dating someone who texts you constantly, says they can't live without you, then disappears for 3 days. Here's what happens. Your brain latches onto the good moments. The psychology behind it is called intermittent reinforcement mechanism. And it's the same thing that makes slot machines addictive. Consistent rejection would eventually make you leave, but they purposely give you inconsistent recognition to keep you wondering if you're one final push away from getting that promotion. Nothing material changes, and all you have is some hope. That is the addiction, which makes it harder leaving. Because for a fixer, leaving doesn't just mean changing jobs. It means admitting the problem couldn't be fixed. It means walking away from years of effort that you invested in this organization, the team you protected, the promotion they kept promising you, and the identity of being the person who never gives up. That's the problem. So what you need to do in order to break the cycle is you need to recognize it first. But recognizing it alone isn't gonna fix it. And after coaching over 1,000 senior professionals, what I've found, the point where people finally realize it's time to walk away, it usually takes about 1.5 to 3 years of nothing changing for people to wake up and accept that it's time to move on, because you're such a great leader that you have this sense of loyalty as well. Now, I don't want you to feel bad if it's been longer than 3 years, because, hey, you know my record. I'm the kind of person who's very loyal and will stay and stay and stay to a fault. And like I mentioned before, I stayed at an organization for 4.5 years. Thank God I wisened up after that, and my history, if you go through my LinkedIn, the durations got shorter and shorter and shorter. By the way, it's a myth that, it's bad to move around. Nowadays, it's very normal. But if you are in that situation that it's been more than 3 years and nothing has changed, I don't want you to feel bad, but you need to wake up. You need to wake up and do something about it, right? It's the same thing as also being in a bad marriage or in a bad relationship. Like I've been in that space as well, where 9 years and I was still trying to fix it. So trust me, I'm not judging you. I've been there. I'm guilty of it. And the reality is sometimes you need someone on the outside to hold you accountable and help you wake up. That's the truth. So here's how you can leave your situation without taking a risk. I'm not saying that you should take something else without, or sorry, that you should just quit without having something else lined up. And we want to make sure that whatever is lined up is not going to fall into the same pattern. So I walk my clients through 5 stages to help them leave basically an opportunity that no longer serves them. Stage 1 is what I call the reckoning. So the reckoning is when you have that realization that perhaps you need to make a change. This is where you separate evidence from hope. This is where you stop confusing the organization's limitations with your inadequacy. Sometimes we confuse the fact that the company is just not capable to give us what we want. It's not because they're bad people. It's because the way that it is designed, the structure just does not support your potential. Again, if I compare it to a relationship, you can have two amazing people, but one person is not able, the other person is not able to give you what you want, right? Maybe they're not ready to be in a relationship. Maybe, I don't know, one person wants kids, the other one, doesn't want kids, right? They're not bad people. It's just that they can't give you what you want. And this is the same thing with an organization. They can't give you what they want due to structural issues, such as budget limitations, lack of innovation, board direction, whatever it is. So this is where we get to what I call the reckoning. Stage 2. Stage 2 is where I work with my clients to detach from that fixer identity. You need to, if you want to move up, you also want to, detach from that identity because you're no longer a doer anyway. And a fixer can leave one dysfunctional company and immediately end up in the same situation. This is why sometimes when I talk to people, we look at their experience and I literally see the same pattern being repeated over and over and over again. And there's an element of, okay, is this a coincidence or is this something that I need to work on? And when I say you need to work on it, it doesn't mean that you're not competent. It doesn't mean that you're the problem. It just means that you are prone to gravitate towards those dysfunctional organizations that really prey on you being a fixer and take advantage of it. You have a vulnerability and you need to recognize that vulnerability so that you don't fall into that same pattern. Because a title change and a logo change is not what's going to fix it. Recognizing the pattern and detaching from it is what's going to fix it. And I actually have a free email course that goes into detail so that you can recognize those things and you don't end up repeating them over and over and over again. Stage 3 is what I call rebuilding your value. This is a very important stage that I work on closely with my clients one-on-one. This is where you learn to see your value. Here's the thing. When you've been in an organization that is undervaluing you, and not recognizing you, because compensation is a form of appreciation, right? And when you're not being appreciated, what do you end up doing? You end up blaming yourself. You end up telling yourself that maybe there's something wrong with you, and you minimize what you've done. And so I work with my clients one on one to go through all of their experiences and help them see the value. Now, how do I do that? Let me just quickly show you guys something, because this is an article that I wrote that I believe is going to be very valuable for you to also take a look at. I call so I believe that the reason people have so much trouble with expressing their value, especially executives, because as executives, you are constantly focusing on the organization's success and you're focusing on your team's success. The worst communicators of their own value are executives. This is based on my experience. I've worked with people from entry level all the way to C-level, and I find that the higher up you are, the harder it becomes to express your value. Okay? Why? Why is it difficult to express your value? Because if you are in an organization that constantly undervalues you, you start believing what they're saying, and you have a distorted, almost perception of your own value. And also, when you are great at what you do, it becomes so natural to you, it's very difficult to actually put words to it. And if you've had a very messy, non-linear career as well, it's really difficult to categorize and express what you've done or even translate it to another context. And so one of the things that I talk about, one of the frameworks that I share with my clients to help them understand why it's difficult for them to express their value, is the value awareness pyramid. Most people's level of awareness of their own value is quite low. It is attached to what they do, the act of doing, the activities that they do in the organization. Yeah, I facilitate workshops, I do this, I talk to stakeholders, I align them. Those are activities. When you share activities to an organization and you're selling them yourself and all they hear is activities, companies don't hire you based on the activities that you do. They hire you based on the business outcomes that you create and the strategic why. Okay? However, most of you have trouble connecting what you do to the outcome. You have trouble extracting the skills from what you do, and you have trouble translating it to a different context or an industry. That is the problem, and that is why there is this disconnect when it comes to selling yourself. And I work with clients on that to help them overcome it. Because if you don't overcome it, you're not going to be able to generate better external opportunities. Here's the thing. You can't just keep latching on and hoping that something's going to change inside your organization. And I'm not going to say that every single client who worked with me didn't get promoted internally. I've had many clients who got promoted because of the way we shifted, the way they speak about themselves, and how they navigated the politics. But they were able to do that because they had leverage. They were able to also generate other options, and that increased their confidence. It helped them understand how they're valued in the market overall, because when you don't understand how you're valued in the market overall, it really makes it difficult for you to have leverage and persuade your internal leadership team, right? Okay. Now, the other part or the other stage, so we talked about the reckoning, we talked about detaching from your fixer identity. We talked about rebuilding your value. The next stage is testing the market, because your employer should not be the sole authority on your value. You need to figure out how you're valued in the market overall. And this is something that I work on again with my clients. And if you want to see the details of how that looks like, of how you can test your value in the market, again, I encourage you to reach out to me and ask me about my free email course. Okay? Stage 5, choosing differently. So we don't want you to reproduce the same bad situation. We want your next role to break that addiction. We don't want you to just have an impressive title and the same issue where you're not being recognized, right? So I break down all of these 5 stages in my executive positioning playbook, and it is a free email course for directors, VPs, and senior directors who are already performing at the next level, but they're not getting the title, authority, and compensation to match it. So if you are interested in that executive positioning playbook, I encourage you to reach out to me or to comment playbook, and I'm going to send it to you. Okay. So let me show you a little bit what this, playbook. The playbook is basically an email course, and I'm trying to see if I can show you guys a little bit of a sneak peek of how the course looks like. Let me see here. Okay. So, actually, let me just go back. Stop sharing, and I'm going to do a screen share of what the course looks like. So what it looks like is you are going to get this email, and it's a 5-day email course where you're going to learn how to break the prove, fix, hope cycle and position yourself to land a role that reflects the level at which you already operate. And this course is for experienced directors, VPs, and senior individual contributors who are doing next level work without the corresponding title, authority, or compensation, working harder without getting meaningfully closer to a promotion, being approached for roles. So if you're getting a lot of recruiters reaching out to you for roles that are beneath your level, this course is for you. If you find yourself rewriting your resume without attracting opportunities, this course is for you. If you are unsure whether to keep pursuing an internal promotion or make an external move, you're torn between those two things, this course is a good course for you. Here's what I cover in the email course. The first email that you'll get is about how to separate a genuine promotion path from a false promise. So there are certain characteristics that you need to look for in order to help you figure out if you're just getting false hope, right? The second day talks about why they're not promoting you. We talked a little bit about why, which is because obviously you're making it easy for them not to promote you. You need to be careful about that. Day 3 is about why your resume keeps positioning you below your level and how to communicate the business value behind your experience, not just the work you completed. The day 4 is how being repeatedly passed over can actually distort your sense of what you're qualified for. So we talked about how we want to make sure that you're not pigeonholing yourself to what your company thinks is your title. Sometimes I have clients who tell me that they were going for a director level in terms of promotion, but they're actually at the VP level. But because, that's what the company kind of brainwashed them to believe, that's what they pursue. So you need to be careful about that. And then, of course, day 5 is about how to ensure your next role gives you the authority, resources, and executive support to succeed. So if you're interested in this email course, send me a DM or comment playbook, and I am going to send it to you. Now, if you don't want to go through a 5-day email course and you want to get results faster and you want to work with me one-on-one, you can also book a career diagnosis to figure out what it's like working with me. So how do you book the free career diagnosis? Very simple. Go to my LinkedIn profile. There is a button that says book an appointment. Let me show you guys how that looks like. Let's see here. Window. There we go. Got a lot of messages today. So, yeah, just underneath, click on book an appointment, and then you're going to see this page. And I encourage you to watch the video because I share my story. There's some client testimonials. It's about 10 minutes to watch. And then you can click book your career diagnosis. So it's a 2-minute intake form to help me understand your situation better because it's only a 15-minute call. So I like to get the context so I can help you. Okay? Alrighty. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Honestly, it took me like almost a whole day to build that email course. That's how long it took me. And it took me a long time to write the article that goes with it on LinkedIn. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. It is completely free. I think you guys are going to love it. I literally went through all the patterns across over 1,000 people. It's also based on my personal experience, professionally and, personal, just to help me understand like why people get addicted to situations that don't serve them. So I hope that you guys love this. It would really mean a lot to me if you give this LinkedIn Live a like, because I know that there are more people out there who would really benefit from this, and you would be helping those people see this, which is a very valuable opportunity. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and we will talk soon. Thank you so much, everyone, for your support. You guys are amazing.